Hi there, this is Brick from How to IELTS, and today we will be reviewing another IELTS speaking test, this time from someone who is from Bangladesh. And if you would like your own free mock IELTS speaking test with myself, you can join my WhatsApp group. The link is in the description to this video. Now, let's get started. Good evening. My name is Brick. Now, in this first part of this test, I will ask you questions about yourself. So, where are you from?
Basically, I'm from a small town that is called Rajshahi, which is just located in the southern part of the country that is Bangladesh.
Right, that's a really, really strong start. Pronunciation. Wow. Okay, you did really well. Very good start. Let's continue. Okay. And what do you like most about your hometown?
I would say that we've got a lot of universities, schools, some international schools for students as well. So I would say that my hometown is quite famous for having proper education for the students. And as well at the same time,
Okay, so just a quick point here. So my question was, what do you like most about your hometown? What he's telling me is what's popular in his hometown. So he's not coherent, which is one of the things that we need to look at when it comes to marking the speaking test. He's not answering the question directly, not yet. Anyway, let's see if he does. Everything else is fine, by the way. Is the pronunciation, his clarity, the vocabulary, everything else is fine. Just coherence. Let's see.
I would say like during summer, we can try, having some different fruits at the same moment. So this is why like I would say that my hometown is quite famous.
Okay, so yeah, he did talk about what is famous just throughout. Now this is normal, by the way. Normal in that when people start off their IELTS speaking test, often at the start, they might make these clumsy errors, these minor errors where they don't answer the question directly, or they might hesitate. That's normal in part one, and that's normal because people feel very nervous at the start of the test. This part of the test is called the warm up, and that's because it helps you warm up and relax and get yourself into the mode of the speaking test. So nothing to worry about. Yeah, not too much. Everything else is fine. Let's continue. Okay. And has your hometown changed over the last few years?
I would say that when I basically go to the downtown area, I figured out we've got a lot of tall buildings, come skyscrapers at the same time, and the road is become much wider compared to past decades. So considering this aspect, I would say that yes, my hometown is evolving.
Oh, okay. Wow. I really like that term, evolving. My hometown is evolving. It means it's getting updated, becoming more modern. Good use of vocabulary there. Yeah, let's continue. Okay. And are there any special places in your hometown that visitors should see?
I would say that in my hometown, there is a specific place that is called Potmark Garden. So it is basically located right next to the sea. When it comes to visitors or some tourists, they can spend some quality time with their favorite ones, and at the same moment, they can try having some different traditional cuisine. I would say that.
Okay, really good answer. Your hometown sounds like a beautiful place, by the way. Really good answer. A couple of minor grammatical errors. Nothing to worry about too much. Let's continue. Okay, and would you recommend your town to others?
Um, I would say that when it comes to recommending my hometown, I really want to say that my hometown is quite popular for having different foods. During summer, we've got a lot of variations of.
Okay, so going back to the fluency and coherence, let's just add this to the screen. So in front of you, you can see the IELTS rubric or the band descriptors. This is basically the document that examiners use when they are assessing your speaking test. So the first section here is fluency and coherence. Now, its fluency is almost perfect, if not perfect. However, the coherence needs a bit of improvement in that if you notice carefully, if you go back, some week just kind of like is a bit all over the place instead of just answering the question directly. So we need to add more clarity. And when we do that, we can be a bit more coherent. Other than that, everything is fine. Let's continue.
And at the same moment, I would say that the education system is quite, bright. I would say that. So by just addressing
Okay, I've noticed that you're repeating the term. I would say that quite quite a lot. I would say. I've got in the habit of saying it as well now. Yeah. So we just want to avoid saying I would say, I would say. Nothing major yet, but if it continues, it might become an issue.
these 2 points, I would like to, introduce my hometown to others.
Okay. Now let's move on and talk about accommodation. So, do you live in a house or an apartment?
I would say that this is more like
So we noticed that he said it again. I would say that. Um, yeah, that needs to go really.
our house. It's not an apartment, and we have in total five rooms. So we've got 3 bedrooms. We've got one balcony, which is attached to my room, and we've got a kitchen at the same time. So we can try preparing different cuisines definitely inside that place.
Okay, and what? That was a really good answer, actually. And let me tell you why that was a good answer. So, on this channel, by the way, I will always explain what a good answer looks like. And if I say you need to improve, I will always explain why. So, this was a good answer. Why? Because Somwick answered the question and then extended his answer. And when you extend it, you develop your answer. And that's how you get those higher marks. So, for example, if you were to ask me, how many siblings do you have? I can answer by saying 3. And that's it. I've answered the question, but a developed answer, an extended answer would look something like this. How many brothers and sisters do you have? I have 3 siblings, 2 older brothers and 1 older sister. I'm the youngest. Can you see what I did there? I mentioned that I've got 2 older brothers, 1 older sister. Then I added even more information on saying that I'm the youngest. Okay, that's all you need to do. Answer the question, 1 or 2 extra pieces of information, nothing more than that. Somric did that really well. Well done. Very natural as well. What do you like about your home?
I think the best part of my house, I would say that the balcony, which is quite eye-catching, I would say that.
Okay, really good collocation there. Eye catching. I did actually pause the video because you mentioned I would say again, but straight after that you said a good thing, so almost balances out. Yeah, good collocation there. Eye catching. Well done. So far, by the way, I think, and I will talk about this in a lot more detail towards the end, in a lot of detail actually. But Stromwig at the moment, he is on track to getting a band 8 or a band 9 in between there somewhere. Let me know what you think of his performance so far. What band would you give him?
We've got several plans, which increase the beauty. And at the same moment, if I'm gonna talk about my room where I tend to stay most of the time, which is quite quiet, so we've got not too much noises. So
A couple of grammatical error there. One just there and noises. The correct term would have been noise. We made it into a plural. Yeah. So noise.
I think like this is the best part of my house that I really admire.
Okay. And is there anything you would like to change about your house?
Um, I really want to emphasize a bit about my room. So I think considering the space, I think
Okay. If I heard that correctly, Songwick, you said emphasize. P, and the correct way to pronounce it is emphasize, like phone. Um, this is a common error. Lots of people make this mistake, and I think that's because of the spelling. Emphasize, the is ph, EMPH, ph makes a th sound. So again, not p, not emphasize, emphasize. Just a minor pronunciation error there. Nothing major. I can still understand everything he's saying, so it's not a problem.
it's not that much long. So if I get the opportunity, I want to increase the area of my room.
Okay, and do you prefer living in a house or an apartment?
Um, I think living in a house is quite convenient because we can do literally everything that we want. And I think staying in a flat, we've got some restrictions.
Right, I'm just going to pause the video there. This is an example of an almost perfect answer, even though he hasn't finished just yet. Let me explain why. So, again, as mentioned before, Somwick answers the question. Okay. After that, what he's done is added a benefit of a house. And just as I paused it, he was about to mention a disadvantage of an apartment. So he's answered it, given advantage, and then the opposite side of the argument. This is a very well balanced answer. Good.
About staying in a way, or sometimes we cannot do whatever we want. So to get the freedom, I would say that living in a house is the best option.
Okay, now in this next part of the test, I'm going to give you a topic, and I would like you to speak about this topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before that, you will have 1 minute to prepare your talk, and you may take notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand it.
Excellent. So, do you have a pen and paper?
Yes, I do have. Yes.
Okay. Stomach, I really like that pen of yours. Excellent. So, I will share the topic with you now on the screen, and your 60 seconds to make notes starts now. Right, let's just go back and read this question. So, a book you recently read. Describe a book you recently read and enjoyed. You should say what the book was about, who recommended it to you, why you decided to read it, and explain what you liked about this book. So, in regard to grammar, I'm guessing that you should speak in the past tense for this. Obviously, you can change things around. Really, you want to use the past tense for this. Let's see if someone does that. 60 seconds to make notes starts now. Okay, so your 1 minute is now over, and you can speak whenever you are ready.
Okay. So the book I really want to talk about at the moment, it is basically called English Grammar, written by Shafin Ahmed. So the book is basically quite fascinating to me because this book really helps me
Good use of vocabulary, that's fascinating.
to improve my overall grammar skill. I would say that I'm not at the moment having a great knowledge about English grammars because we've got
Grammar skills. I think he said skill. Yeah, so a mistake there, and also grammar is an uncountable noun. So we don't say grammars, as in that doesn't make it plural. The word grammar refers to singular and plural. Okay. So I think the irony, a grammatical error there. Other than that, we're doing okay. Let's continue.
vast of items. We've got a number of items that always we need to cover. But at least the level currently I'm having it is just because I covered the book almost most of the chapters. When it comes to the recommendation, I still remember back in 2020, around the middle of the year. So one of my friends from my university who suggested that if you really want to improve your English, you should start from learning the grammars because it not just help you to feel confident, but also it really help you to improve your accuracy level. So he just suggested that yeah, you should go for this book, and it really helps you with your overall grammar skill because that time I tend to make a lot of mistakes. Of course, like most of the chapters, I didn't get a chance to cover that time, but at least the knowledge I used to have that time that wasn't enough. So my friend and we went to a super shop. So there's a particular area where people they can purchase different of items of books. It could be some storybooks. Sometimes we can purchase books about different languages. So we went.
Right. Slowly, we're getting slightly off topic, so we're losing our marks for coherence. Okay. Fluency. Your speech is fluent, but the way we're talking about it, the structure of it is a bit all over the place. We're not really answering the questions, the bullet points on the topic card. Let's see where this goes.
There and he helped me to find out that book. So when I get a chance to see for especially for a few chapters, the book looks quite eye catchy in a sense that we've got few pictures in the middle of that book. It's not just in the middle, like most of the chapters, at least they put inside like few of the pictures that helps the learner to.
Thank you. Right. So we spoke about. Right. So if you notice there, Somwick stopped. The reason why he stopped is because I stopped him in the text, and that's because his 2 minutes was over. So if the examiner does stop you in your 2 minute talk time, that's most likely because your 2 minutes are over. And is that a bad thing? No. Okay. It just means that your time is up. If you have not finished what you were about to say, that's not a problem. It will not go against you. The examiner only assesses the speech that has left your mouth. Okay. So if you haven't finished it, you don't need to worry. Okay. Let's continue. Books. So let's move on and talk about books and reading in a bit more detail. Okay, so right. So before Stomwick answers this question, just a quick feedback regarding part two. You speak very naturally, which is amazing. It's beautiful to listen to. The intonation is spot on. It's incredible. However, and I'm just slightly concerned about two things. One was the grammatical range and accuracy. That's something I was focusing on in part two, and I think I mentioned it earlier actually, where I wanted you to choose the correct tense. I didn't see much evidence of the past tense being used, or even a variety of different tenses being used. And I think it was a bit all over the place. It could have been structured a lot better. So we're closer to the band 8 mark as opposed to the band 9 at the moment. We'll see at the end where we mark it together. Again, comment below what you think or what feedback you have for Somwick. And please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's continue. So, how important is reading for personal development?
Reading books is always important for everybody. It is not just helping individual for gathering different vocabularies, but also
So, vocabulary, not vocabularies. Again, it's an uncountable now.
it really helps for people to be patient at the same time to earn knowledge, gather knowledge about different aspects.
Earn knowledge. Okay. Um, I w- I think the correct way would be to say gain knowledge. That would be the right collocation. Earn knowledge is slightly unnatural. For anyone getting a lower score, like a band 7 or a 6, you might not even notice these things. So this probably doesn't apply to you. But if you want to get those band 8s, 9s, we need to start using band 8, 9 vocabulary, really. So yeah, not gain knowledge. Sorry, yeah, not earn knowledge of whatever someone said.
aspects. And at the same moment, I think that if people do have enough time in their hands, like some spare time, not just doing some other activities, is they can cover different kind of books covering variety of aspects. They can improve their knowledge. At the same time, they can pass their time in a great manner.
Overall, very good answer. Good. Yeah, strong answer, solid answer. Good.
Thank you. And do you think young people today read more books or less than previous generations?
In my opinion, a recent generation, I think individuals at the moment, they don't prefer physical books quite a lot because
So again, this is a slight minor grammatical error. It's not our recent generations. You're going to say recent or the most recent generation, not ah.
I believe like we've got a lot of advancements when it comes to considering technology. So people mostly prefer to read books.
2 points there. First of all, well done. Good use of vocab advancements. I love that. Second thing, slight problem, pronunciation. And the correct way to pronounce it is prefer. Prefer, not prefer. So that would be an error. Yeah. So one good point, one area to improve on.
Online, as we do have like variation, we do have a lot of options like Google's. We can get books from there.
So again, Google, not Google's. So I'm noticing a frequent error, which is making things plural when they don't need to be.
Or even we can earn any kind of knowledge that we want, so we can get anything literally for free. So
I know I keep stopping this, just pulling out these points. Really good use of intonation there. So intonation is when the pitch of your voice changes. And here he said the word want. So well done. Let me give you a better example of this. If I say, your name is Adam, that's a sentence. Now, I will use the same words. I will change nothing. But now it becomes a question. Watch this. Your name is Adam. I said the same words, but because the pitch of my voice changes, so does the meaning. Let's look at this again. Your name is Adam. That's a statement. Your name's Adam. That's a question. Same words. And that's done through intonation, through the pitch of our voice. Your pitch is perfect. Well done.
So we don't need to pay money to purchase a book, but also we can stay at
Purchase, not purchase. Purchase.
home. We can just use our computer or using internet, and we can get anything that we want for free enough. So young generations, I think they mostly prefer reading books online rather than going for physical items.
Okay. Other than the points that I talked about, a really good answer. I like it. Good.
Okay, thank you. And do you prefer reading online or do you prefer reading hard copies?
I would say that physical books is always great because
I was hoping that we would stop using that term by now. I would say that. But it's still being used. That will have to be taken into consideration when assessing your speaking test, which we'll do at the end.
is when it comes to reading books online, sometimes I think we may encounter some distractions. For example, for me, when it comes to having any kind of PDF online, so what happens when it comes to reading few lines? Afterwards, I got some notification from probably from Instagram or from YouTube. Then straight on, like I just push the button and I just start watching the videos or get some distractions. So mostly to stay in touch, I really prefer reading physical books rather than going for online books.
Okay, interesting answer. This one answer, had all the points we talked about in terms of the areas that you could improve. Areas that you could improve. They kind of all here. So the grammatical range and accuracy, couple of pronunciation errors. I wouldn't worry about that at all, though, because your pronunciation is fine, and I'll explain to you why it's fine at the end. A bit of inconsistency with coherence.
Okay, and what do you think are some of the advantages of reading ebooks?
As I said earlier, like when it comes to physical books, we've got a lot of distraction. Sometimes we can have some difficulties, right? Because we need to pay money, we need to purchase in the first place. And at the same time, I think I'm sorry, I just forget the question. Can you just repeat again?
Okay, so I just want to point out something here. What Sunwick did here is perfectly fine, which is that if you do not understand the question or if you forget the question, you can just stop and say, I'm sorry, can you just repeat that question? It will not go against you if you do it once or twice. That's fine. Okay. That's for the audience, by the way. Let's continue.
What do you think are some of the advantages of reading ebooks?
Okay, so when it comes to the advantages, I think the first thing about money, as we can get the ebooks online for free. There's a lot of websites or places from where we can gather books for free. I think that's the best advantages because we didn't need to pay money. But considering the physical books, I believe right we need to go to the market. We need to show some effort to get the book in our hand, and then we have to start covering up. So the best advantages about when it comes to the money, I think ebooks is the best option in my opinion.
Right, that was a good answer. Right, we've talked about grammar enough, the pronunciation as well. When it comes to developing your answers, we can clean it up a bit. One way we can do this is to use cohesive devices. Now, if you don't know what they are, I will make a separate video on this because I don't want to add too much technicality in this video. This is just a general feedback video for you all to benefit from. But yeah, we want to use a bit of cohesive devices that will help clean up our speech, will help us to give a more organized response as opposed to giving a response that's a bit all over the place. I mean, I'm making it sound like it's a bad answer. It's not. It's an absolutely amazing answer. Somewhat you should be proud of yourself. What the feedback I'm giving is just to help you get to the next level. Yeah, let's continue.
Okay. And do you think schools and universities should encourage students to read more books?
I would say that for personal development, not just university, but everybody should start reading books. And I think from parents, I think parents they have the responsibility to encourage uh, young ones, right? So that they can start having that habits, and they can day by day they can build up the habits, and at the same time, when they become adults, they can earn an enormous amounts of knowledge. At the same time, they can
When they become adult, when they become adults, okay, we had an F at the end because we said they. When they is plural, so adults also needs to be plural. So when they become adult,
and they can push themselves in a place where they don't have to take motivation from others, but they can go for reading books items by themselves. So I would say that universities, especially professors, teachers, they also have the responsibility alongside parents.
that was an amazing sentence. I think universities have the responsibility alongside parents. Well done. Okay, thank you. That brings us to the end of this test, so I will now stop the recording. Right. So we've now come to the end of that test. So we will now assess it and we will mark it or assess this exam using this document on your screen. Now, this is called the IELTS rubric or the IELTS speaking band descriptors. This is what examiners use when they mark your IELTS speaking test. So I will leave this in the link. I will leave a link to this in the description below so you can download it and have a look at it. Now, let's mark this together. So let's start with fluency and coherence. Let's just look at a band 9. If we don't get a band 9, then we will move down and look at a band 8 and see if we've got that. Okay, we will keep doing that until we get the score. Yeah, so fluency and coherence, a band 9. First bullet point: speaks fluently with only rare repetition or self-correction. Interesting. So Spomwick definitely speaks fluently, okay, with only rare repetition. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say the repetition was rare. There was quite a bit of repetition, especially in part one. Um, Self correction, there was no self correction. You didn't need to self correct, which is good. Any hesitation is content related rather than to find words or grammar. Again, no hesitation from you, Somewhat. Well done. Um, so that doesn't apply. However, I don't think we got that bullet point because speaks fluently. So there were times when we didn't answer the question directly. I think it was in part one where I asked you a question, what do you like about your hometown? And you just told me what's famous. You didn't tell me what you like most. So that's part of fluency. So we didn't get that. And there's also a bit of repetition. So we didn't get bullet point one. Let's continue. Speaks coherently with full, appropriate, cohesive features. Now, you did speak kind of coherently, but not fully appropriate with cohesive features. I think I mentioned that earlier. There were not many examples of cohesive devices or cohesive features. I will send you some videos somewhere on WhatsApp where I explain more information about cohesive features. Okay. So I wouldn't say you got the first two bullet points. Bullet point 3 develops topics fully and appropriately. We definitely developed them fully. Appropriately, there could be slight improvements. Remember, to get up band 9 is very difficult. So let's look at a band 8. Speaks fluently with occasional repetition or self-correction. Okay. I think this perfectly describes your speaking skills, Somewhere. Occasional repetition. So there weren't repetition. There wasn't, too much of it where it was over and over and over again. It was occasional. At the start, there was quite a bit. At the end, a little bit. So it averages out to occasional. So I think we've definitely got the first bullet point. Bullet point 2 develops topics coherently and appropriately. So if you look at band 9, the second bullet point, it says develop topics fully. Whereas in band 8, for band 8, it says develop topics coherently. So it's like one step down. So yeah, I think we've definitely got a band 8 for fluency and coherence. Let's move on to lexical resource. So lexical resource is just another word for vocabulary. I'm already certain that you're going to get a top band for this. Let's look at a band 9. Uses vocab with full flexibility and precision in all topics. What's precision? Well, precision is when you get a dart, or actually, let's look at cricket. I always get many people talking about cricket in the speaking test. You have the ball, when you throw it and it hits either wickets, that's accuracy. Okay. So uses vocab with full flexibility and precision in all topics. Yeah, I think you got that. Second bullet point, uses idiomatic language naturally and accurately. Now, there wasn't too many examples of idiomatic language. However, you don't need to use too many examples. You just need to use it accurately. And I think you did. You used it very naturally. You did it fine. Perfect lexical resource. I think you've got a band 9. Well done. Let's now move on to grammatical range and accuracy. This is an interesting one. This is where we need to assess this because there was a bit of confusion here, I think, with Somwick's answer regarding grammar. So, to get a band 9 uses a full range of structures naturally and appropriately. I don't think there was a full range. For example, in part 2, and there was no real example of the past tense being used, even though the questions were, probing you to speak in the past tense. There was a bit of future tense. I think there was a bit of present, but it wasn't a well-rounded answer. For that question, I would primarily stick to past tense just because of the nature of it. So yeah, I don't think we've used the full range of structures and naturally and appropriately for bullet point 2. produces consistently accurate structures apart from slips. There were no real slips. There could be a little bit more consistency. So they weren't accurate structures. You use the structures, but not accurately. Let's look at a band 8. So uses a wide range of structures flexibly. Excellent. Okay, I think that perfectly describes your grammar. Produces a majority of error-free sentences with only very occasional inappropriacies or basic non-systematic errors. So look at bullet point 2. Majority of your sentences are error-free. The few sentences that were not error-free, those errors were still very minor, but they were not error-free throughout. So yeah, I think we've definitely got a band 8 for grammar. Okay, so we've got an 8, 9, 8. Pronunciation. Let's look at a band 9. Uses a full range of pronunciation features with precision and subtlety. Subtlety is when it is so natural, it goes unnoticed. And I think that is you did that perfect. Your pronunciation is very precise, is very subtle, was a very natural way of speaking. Well done, Somwick. You've got that first bullet point. Second bullet point, sustains flexible use of features throughout. So this goes back to the point that I was mentioning earlier regarding intonation. He's done this throughout. Okay, so Somwick, you've definitely got a band 9 for that. The final one is effortless to understand. Right, Somwick, your pronunciation is so effortless that I think effortless to understand, that I think that if me and you were having a conversation, I think more people would understand you over me. That's how good your pronunciation is. That might be because of my accent as well. Mine's a Manchester accent, Mancunian accent. I am from Manchester in the UK. The accent sometimes is not understood by everyone. But yeah, let's go back to this. Right, so you've got a band 9 for pronunciation. So overall, Somewhat fluency and coherence, a band 8. Lexical resource, a band 9. Grammatical range and accuracy, a band 8. And pronunciation, a band 9, bringing our overall score to a band 8.5. Well done.